I want you to run a quick simulation in your head right now.
Okay.
Just picture this. It's a scenario we have all, and I mean all of us, have lived through 1,000 times, probably without even thinking twice about it.
Okay.
You're walking into a coffee shop, your hands are full, you've got a laptop bag, maybe some groceries, whatever, and a stranger, just a kind person, holds the door open for you, you walk through, you make eye contact, and what do? What's the automatic response?
You say thank you.
You say thank you instantly. Or, okay, picture your birthday. Someone hands you a box. It's wrapped in that shiny, crinkly paper. You tear it open. You see the gift. Your face lights up. You say,
Thank you, of course.
Thank you.
It's the standard social contract, isn't it? Stimulus, then response.
exactly. It is the human algorithm. An event happens, a benefit is received, and gratitude is the output.
Yeah.
It's linear. It's logical. It is a reaction to a visible, tangible event.
A to B. Simple cause and effect.
But what if I told you that this logic, this absolute bedrock of how we interact with reality, is actually backwards? At least, when we're talking about let's call them the invisible laws of the universe.
That's a provocative thought. You're suggesting the cart is supposed to pull the horse.
I'm suggesting more than that. The source material we have on the desk today, it calls this the sacred inversion. It argues, pretty forcefully, that everything we think we know about gratitude is wrong.
Everything. That's a big claim.
A huge claim. We usually think of gratitude as the period at the end of the sentence, the thing you say when the transaction is closed. But the material we're diving into today argues that gratitude isn't the consequence of receiving.
Okay.
It is the cause of receiving.
Wow. Okay, so that is a massive shift in perspective. We're talking about moving from gratitude as a polite social reflex
Right.
to gratitude as a generative force, a technology, essentially.
Technology is the perfect word for it, and that is absolutely the lens we're going to use for this deep dive. We are looking at a really fascinating, dense transcript. It's from the Commando de Prosperidad channel.
The Prosperity Command channel.
Exactly. And it's heavy stuff. It draws heavily on the teachings of a woman named Florence Scovel Shinn, who was this metaphysical teacher from the early 20th century. And she has this cult following for being incredibly practical about these spiritual laws.
She wasn't an abstract philosopher.
Not at all. She didn't just talk about vibes or good feelings. She talked about mechanics, about laws. And the concept we are unpacking today is called anticipatory gratitude.
Or in the original Portuguese of the source, gratidão antecipatoria.
Right. And the claim here isn't just, think positive choice and have a nice day. That's not what this is about.
No.
The claim is that by inverting the timeline, by thanking before you see the proof, you trigger a metaphysical law that literally forces reality to catch up. It's a complete disruption of worldly logic.
It really is. And I think it's important to set the stage here for you, for the listener. When we talk about this source material, we aren't just talking about a self-help strategy to feel a little bit better about your day.
Yeah.
That's surface level.
Far too surface level.
The source presents this as spiritual architecture. It treats these concepts as laws like gravity or aerodynamics. You don't have to believe in aerodynamics for a plane to fly, but you absolutely have to obey the principles.
You have to build the plane correctly.
You have to build the plane correctly. And the source argues that gratitude works the same way. It is not about being polite to the universe. It's about inputting the correct code to get a very specific output.
I love that framing. Inputting the code. Because the text is surprisingly technical in its language. It talks about mechanisms, protocols, vibrations, frequencies.
It's a user manual, not a book of poetry.
It really is. So here's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack this law of anticipatory gratitude. We're going to look at the huge psychological shift the source demands, this move from the identity of a beggar to the identity of a commander.
And that distinction, beggar versus commander, it is absolutely central to everything we're going to discuss. It's a harsh distinction, maybe, but a necessary one, according to this text.
Oh, it's huge. We're also going to walk through some very specific case studies from the source that are, honestly, they're kind of mind-blowing. Stories of bills being paid out of nowhere, jobs appearing from thin air, missing invitations showing up.
Concrete examples.
Very concrete. And finally, we're going to reveal the specific password. The source gives a very specific phrase and a 7-day protocol that it claims, and this is a bold claim, will produce tangible signs within 24 to 72 hours.
That is a very bold promise. You're putting a clock on the universe there.
Extremely bold. But before we get to the how, we have to really, really understand the what and the why. So let's start with this foundational idea of reaction versus creation. The source starts by describing how most people, most of us, live our lives. It says we walk around with our eyes fixed on the void.
That is such a haunting image, isn't it? Eyes fixed on the void.
It really is.
The source is describing this human tendency to focus entirely on what is missing. It's our default setting. We look at our bank account and all we can see is the lack of zeros.
Right, not what's there, but what isn't.
Exactly. We look at our relationship status and we see the empty chair next to us. We look at our career and we see the promotion we didn't get. We're constantly measuring absence.
The source says we catalog scarcity like a spiritual inventory. That phrase hit me hard. It's like we're all warehouse managers of our own problems, you know. Okay, let's see. Checking the manifest, I have 3 days of delay on this payment, 0 callbacks from that interview, and a general sense of panic over here in aisle 4.
Precisely. And the source argues that this behavior, this constant inventory of lack, creates a vicious feedback loop. When you are measuring absence, you are literally vibrating. Your whole being is tuned to the frequency of absence.
You're broadcasting not enough.
You're broadcasting not enough, and the universe, which it describes as a mirror, just reflects that broadcast right back at you. The text says we're waiting for the bill to be paid to feel relief, waiting for the client to sign to celebrate.
We outsource our internal state to external events. That's what we do.
Right.
We say, I will be grateful when. I'll feel secure when the money comes. I'll be happy when I meet someone. The when is the trap.
That's the ultimate trap.
Which sounds so reasonable, though. I mean, if I'm broke, I'm not going to feel rich. If I'm lonely, I'm not going to feel connected.
Yeah.
Why is that an error, according to this framework?
Because, according to this metaphysical framework, the law does not operate by the logic of reaction. It can't. It operates by the logic of declaration.
Okay, what's the difference?
Reaction is passive. You're waiting for the world to act on you. Declaration is active. You are acting on the world. The source says explicitly, the law responds to the declaration. It implies that the universe is essentially a mirror. And if you stand in front of a mirror and wait for the reflection to smile first, you will be waiting forever.
Wow.
You have to smile first, you initiate, and then the reflection has no choice but to follow. It's a law.
So waiting for the proof is actually pushing the proof away.
In a sense, yes. The source uses this other great phrase, measuring the delay. Think about that. As long as you are measuring how late something is, how long it's taking,
You're affirming its lateness.
you are affirming its lateness, you are solidifying the reality of not having. You are telling the universe, my focus is on the delay, and the universe says, okay, more delay it is.
This is a lot to take in. It brings us to the next concept, which is the divine time alignment. The text gets really trippy here.
It does.
It says that in the invisible realm, or what it sometimes calls divine substance, everything is already done.
This is a core tenet of Florence Scovel Shinn's philosophy, and it's all over the source material. The idea is that there's a parallel reality, an invisible warehouse or a divine storehouse, where every prayer, every desire, every need has already been met.
Already, past tense.
Past tense. The check is already written. The job contract is already printed. The health is already restored. The right person already exists. It exists in substance, just not yet in form.
Okay, so when we practice this anticipatory gratitude, we're not pretending.
Ah.
Because that is the big mental hurdle, right? For anyone listening. Standing there with an overdue bill in your hand and saying out loud, thank you for the money, it feels delusional. It feels like you're lying to yourself.
And the source anticipates that objection. It addresses this directly. It says, when you thank before seeing, you aren't lying to yourself. You are aligning with a timeline where the provision has already been released.
Aligning with the timeline.
Yes. It's a shift in focus. You aren't looking at the empty mailbox in the physical world. You are tuning your focus to the delivered package that exists in the invisible world. You're choosing which reality to give your attention to.
It's like ordering something online. That's the analogy I keep coming back to in my head.
That's a great one.
When you click Buy Now on a website, the money leaves your account. You get a confirmation email. Now, you do not have the item in your hand. It's not physically there.
Right.
But you don't pace around your living room crying, I hope it comes, if only it would arrive.
No, you'd sound insane.
You'd sound insane. You know it's yours. You act like it's yours. You might even, buy accessories for the thing before it even arrives. You act as if you possess it, even the physical evidence hasn't hit your doorstep yet.
That is a perfect analogy, and the source would say the missing link between that invisible order in the system and the physical delivery to your door is the word of possession.
Word of possession.
The universe is waiting for you to sign for the package, essentially, and the signature is gratitude. Saying thank you is like signing that digital scanner, which tells the delivery driver, okay, this is the right address, release the package.
The universe is waiting for the word of possession. I like that a lot. But let's look at why this is so damn hard for us. The source really, really goes after hustle culture.
Oh, it does.
It talks about people who worked until they bled, and yet they saw opportunities vanish right before their eyes.
Yes, this is what the text calls the problem with effort. And we need to be really careful here because the source isn't saying you should just sit on the couch and do nothing. That's a common misinterpretation.
It's not about being passive.
Not at all. But it directly challenges the belief that struggle creates success. It describes people who pursued their sustenance like a wild animal, hunting it down with sweat and tears and frantic energy.
Pursuing with sweat what should come by divine right. That's the exact quote from the transcript.
Exactly. And the diagnosis the source offers is fascinating. It doesn't say these people were lazy or not smart enough or didn't try hard enough. It says the problem wasn't a lack of effort. It was a lack of gratitude.
That's the whole inversion again.
It is. It points out this paradox. You asked more, you worked more, you cried more, but you thanked less. The more desperate you got, the less grateful you became, which just tightened the knot.
It paints this picture of someone just banging on a locked door, screaming and sweating and throwing their whole body against it, trying to break it down.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the key was in their pocket the whole time. But they were too busy banging and making all that noise to just stop, reach in their pocket, and unlock the door quietly.
And the key in that metaphor is the decree. It's the word. The source argues that effort without the word, without that spiritual alignment of gratitude, is heavy. It's dense. It faces constant resistance.
Like trying to swim upstream.
Precisely. But when the word governs, when you have first established that state of gratitude, effort becomes light and organized. That's the phrase it uses. The effort obeys the word. So instead of frantic, desperate action, you get this inspired, calm action. You make the right call at the right time. The perfect email lands in your inbox. It's flow instead of force.
This leads us directly into the identity shift. This is maybe the most crucial part of the whole text. The source frames this as a battle between two characters living inside you, the beggar and the governor, or sometimes it calls it the possessor. Let's break these down. Who is the beggar?
The beggar is the identity defined by waiting. The beggar is who most of us are most of the time without realizing it. The beggar looks at the world, at God, at the universe, and says, please, can I have this? Please give me this. The beggar is defined by hope. And this is where the source gets really, really interesting. It attacks the very concept of hope.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop. Usually hope is seen as a virtue. Keep hope alive, But here it's treated like a trap.
A very subtle and dangerous trap. Because in this specific metaphysical context, hope implies distance. It implies separation. If I say, I hope I get this job, what am I really saying underneath that?
I'm saying I don't have it.
You're saying, I don't have this job and I'm not sure I will. Hope carries the vibration of, I don't believe it's mine yet. It always keeps the desire in the future. And the future, by definition, never arrives. It's always just out of reach.
That is a heavy realization, I hope, is basically an admission of doubt dressed up in a pretty word.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's doubt in a tuxedo. Now, contrast that with the governor or the possessor. This identity is defined not by hoping, but by knowing.
Knowing.
The governor doesn't hope, the governor decrees. The governor uses the language of possession, which is gratitude. The governor doesn't say, I hope I get the job. The governor says, thank you for the job. The shift is so subtle in the language, but it is massive in its vibration. It's the difference between asking for a loan and walking into a bank you own.
Wow. The source uses this really strong metaphor here about the two selves. It talks about this internal battle between the old self, which is closed in doubt and scarcity and begging.
That's the beggar.
And the Christ within, or the true self, the divine self. And it says something pretty ruthless. It says, you cannot resurrect what you refuse to bury.
It is a call for a psychological death. The source is very dramatic and uncompromising about this. It says the old self that begs must be declared dead. You can't just try to improve the beggar. You can't just teach the beggar to beg more effectively or with more positive language.
You can't put lipstick on the beggar.
Exactly. You have to kill the beggar identity entirely.
Yeah.
You have to stop identifying as someone who is trying to get something and start identifying as someone who has already received. It's a fundamental shift in your I am.
It asks this question: what are you trying to keep alive that God has already declared dead? And that really forces you to look at your own patterns. Like, do I enjoy the drama of the struggle? Is the struggler my identity?
And for many people, it is.
Because if it is, I'm blocking the easy flow.
Right.
If I get my sense of worth from how hard I fight, then I'll create fights everywhere.
That is often the case. We get addicted to the struggle because it validates our effort. We're products of a culture that says, no pain, no gain. So if we get something easily, through grace, we almost feel like we cheated. We feel we didn't earn it.
Yeah.
But the source says, no, the law operates on grace, not on sweat. The sweat is supposed to come after the alignment, not as a means to get it.
Okay, so we have the theory. It's powerful. We need to kill the beggar and become the commander. But how? What's the actual tool? The source introduces the technology of the spoken word, and it emphasizes repeatedly that this has to be audible. You can't just think it, you have to speak it. Why is that so important?
This is a critical point, and the text is very clear about it. It says the law responds to the sound of faith. There's something about the acoustic vibration, the physical act of moving air with your vocal cords, creating a sound wave that travels through space that acts as a bridge. It connects the internal world of belief with the external world of matter.
It makes it real. It takes it out of your head.
It makes it real. A thought is ephemeral, but a word is a creation. It has a frequency. The source mentions that the word is an invisible seed.
Right, the seed analogy.
Yes. And the analogy is that your spoken word is a seed that you are planting in the fertile soil of the invisible. Now think about a real seed in nature. You plant it. Do you see it grow immediately?
Of course not. It's underground.
It's underground, it's in the dark. That's where the work happens. But if you're an anxious gardener and you dig it up every hour to see if it's growing, what happens?
You kill it. You destroy the process.
You kill it.
Yeah.
That digging up is doubt. That digging up is checking your bank account every 5 minutes in a panic. That digging up is complaining to your friends that it's not working. You're killing the seed.
So speaking, the word is planting the seed. And then you have to. You have to leave it alone. Is that it?
You have to water it, but you don't disturb the soil. You water it with repetition of your grateful decree, and you protect it with what the source calls sacred silence, which means not speaking against your word. You cannot decree abundance in the morning and then complain about the price of gas at lunch.
You're digging up the seed.
You just dug up the seed. That's the hard part. It's the consistency of vibration. The source also talks a lot about vibration and frequency. It claims that audible gratitude, speaking it out loud, changes your personal vibration instantly.
Which brings up a really important question for anyone listening who is going through a tough time. It answers the question, do I have to feel happy? Because often when things are going wrong, we're not happy. We're terrified, we're anxious, we're grieving.
The listener might be asking, so it's not about feeling happy, I don't have to force a smile, and the answer from this text is a resounding no.
Oh, thank goodness. Because if I have to feel happy to make this work, I'm in big trouble when the chips are down.
Right. It's an impossible standard. The text clarifies that gratitude, in this context, is not a vague emotion. It is a spiritual decree. It's a position of power. You can decree gratitude even when you are terrified. You can decree gratitude when you are broke. It is a command, not a feeling.
A command.
The feeling eventually catches up, but the command comes first. You force the vibration through your voice, and your emotional state eventually has to align with the sound you're making.
So it's kind of fake it till you make it, but on a cosmic vibrational level?
It's more like speak it till you become it. The speaking is the becoming.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the language. The source is very specific. It actually lists forbidden phrases, things that we say all the time that are apparently sabotaging us. We already talked about I hope, but there are others.
Yes. The big one is, when it works out, I'll give thanks.
Which sounds so humble and proper.
It sounds proper, but it's conditional. The law, according to this text, ignores conditionals. It's a computer. It doesn't understand when. It translates when as not now. So you're decreeing not now.
Wow. Okay, what's another one?
If it happens.
Oh, that's a big one. If I get the job.
If creates a fork in the road. It introduces the possibility of failure into the equation. You're literally telling the universe that there are two options here, success or failure.
Hmm.
And the law doesn't know what to do with if, so it pauses. It waits for a clear command.
So what are the divine substitutions? How do we fix this broken language?
It's simple but powerful. Instead of when, you say it already is. Instead of if, you say it is done. And instead of I hope, you say I thank you now.
I thank you now. That is the anchor. It pulls the future into the present.
It collapses time.
The source credits Florence Scovel Shinn, as we mentioned, with unearthing this law. And it shares a specific case study about her that I found really, really powerful. There was a woman who came to her in total desolation, complete financial ruin.
This story is classic Florence Scovel Shinn. It's in many of her books. The woman comes to her, desperate at the end of her rope, and Florence doesn't give her financial advice. She doesn't tell her to cut coupons or apply for a loan or get a second job.
She doesn't deal with the external problem.
She goes right to the root. She tells the woman, you don't need money, you need a new word.
It just gives me chills. You don't need money, you need a new word.
It reframes the problem entirely. The lack of money is just a symptom. It's a shadow being cast by the lack of the word. So Florence gave her a mantra, a decree, and it's a famous one. She told her to repeat, God is my immediate and infinite supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, and in perfect ways.
Let's break that down. Immediate and infinite supply. That denies any possibility of delay or lack.
Correct. Large sums of money come to me quickly. That's a direct command for speed.
And I love the under grace and in perfect ways part. That implies it happens easily, without hurting anyone else, without struggle or anxiety.
Exactly. It's a fail-safe. It ensures the manifestation is harmonious for everyone involved, and the result. The story goes that within a week, old debts were forgiven out of the blue, unexpected checks appeared in the mail. The external reality had no choice but to reshape itself around her new word.
It's so powerful. The source uses this to prove that the external reality is malleable. It's not fixed.
Yeah.
It is fluid, and it flows into the mold that is created by your dominant word, your dominant belief.
It's like pouring liquid concrete. Your
Yeah.
words build the mold, reality just fills it.
Let's look at some of the other real-world case studies from the source. These are the receipts, so to speak, the proof that this works for ordinary people. The first one is called the impossible bill.
Right. This is such a relatable situation. A woman has a bill. The amount is more than she has in her account. The deadline is short. Panic is setting in. The normal beggar reaction would be to call friends, cry, worry, maybe just ignore the bill and hope it goes away.
Which it never does.
It never does. But she used the law. The source says she took the physical bill in her hand, which is an interesting detail.
It anchors it in reality.
It does. She held it, she closed her eyes, and she said audibly 3 times, I thank you now because the law has already answered me. This bill is paid.
3 times.
Right.
That number comes up a lot.
3 times. The source says it's a triple seal of certainty. It bypasses the conscious mind's skepticism. Once might be a stray thought. Twice could be a coincidence. 3 times is a declaration. It's a command.
So what happened?
And here's what happened. The very next day, she gets a call. It's about an old debt she had completely forgotten about, money that someone owed her. The person was paying it back, but there had been an error, and they had paid it in duplicate, meaning there was an overpayment with interest or some kind of penalty fee. The refund, the overpayment, was the exact amount she needed for the bill, to the penny.
It's the precision of it that gets me. It wasn't a random lottery win. It wasn't a generic windfall. It was a perfect, elegant balancing of the scales.
And notice the mechanism here. She didn't create the money out of thin air. The money was already hers. It was already owed to her. It was just stuck somewhere in the invisible pipeline.
Her gratitude unblocked the pipe.
That's a key distinction. The source isn't teaching magic tricks. It's teaching how to release what is already yours by divine right, but is being blocked by a vibration of fear and doubt.
Then there's the job seeker. This one is so great for anyone listening who might be frustrated with the job market right now.
Oh, absolutely. Here's a scenario. A man unemployed for months, sending resumes out into the black hole. You know the drill. Just silence. He feels invisible. He starts the protocol. Every morning, he thanks the universe for the perfect job that has already been assigned to him.
So notice, he didn't beg for an interview. He didn't hope for a callback. He jumped to the end result and thanked for the job itself.
Correct. Total possession. And on the fourth day of doing this, a recruiter calls him out of the blue for a position he hadn't even applied for.
He didn't even know it existed.
Had no idea. They found his old resume somewhere, and the job was a better fit with higher salary than he was even targeting.
Again, it's this idea that the solution was actively looking for him, but he was hiding from it behind a wall of begging and desperation.
The begging vibration acts like a repellent. It screams, I am needy, I am desperate, and neediness repels opportunity. It makes people uncomfortable. But the commanding vibration screams, I am valuable and I am ready, and that attracts. It's magnetic.
The last case study is the missing invitation. Now, this one is much smaller stakes, but I think it illustrates the point perfectly.
I agree. So a woman is waiting for an important invitation to a big event. She's anxious, checking the mail constantly, refreshing her email. Nothing. The beggar is in full control.
Oh, we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So she decides to shift. She stops asking. She stops checking obsessively. She starts thanking, thank you, because the invite that is mine has been sent.
She affirmed the action was already complete. It has been sent.
Exactly. 2 days later, an email arrives. It's an apology from the event organizer. The invitation had been sent days ago, but to the wrong email address. A typo.
See, that is the aha moment for me in all of this. If she had kept begging, please send the invite, please let it come, she would have been reinforcing the idea that it hadn't been sent yet.
She'd be fighting reality.
By saying, thank you, it is sent, she aligned with the actual truth of the situation, which was that it was sent, just misdirected. The gratitude didn't create the invite. It revealed the truth and corrected the error.
Precisely. Gratitude didn't materialize the invite on her desk out of nothing. It revealed the reality that already existed. The beggar assumes the universe is withholding something from you. The governor assumes the universe has already given you everything. And if you can't see it, there's just a logistical kink that needs to be smoothed out with the decree of thanks.
So the common thread in all of these stories is that gratitude unblocked the channel. The solution already existed. The money, the job, the invite, but the vibration of begging and fear kept it at a distance.
Yes. The source says the solution is always waiting for the voice to recognize it. It's already there, waiting patiently for you to claim it.
Okay, I am sold on the theory. I think anyone listening has to be at least intrigued. I want to try this. So the source gives a very, very specific protocol. It calls it a sacred challenge. Let's break it down for the listener step by step. First, there's a time frame claim.
Right, and it's a bold one. The source promises signs within 24 to 72 hours. That is a very specific window. It says this is the time it takes for the vibrational shift to begin manifesting physical signs or synchronicities. Not necessarily the full manifestation, but signs.
A little wink from the universe.
Exactly. A confirmation that your order has been received. And there's a master phrase, a password to activate the law. The phrase in the original Portuguese is Eu agradeço agora porque a lei já me respondeu. Translated for us, it is, I thank you now because the law has already answered me.
I thank you now because the law has already answered me.
Let's unpack that sentence for a second.
Absolutely.
Why those specific words? Every word is critical. I thank you now anchors it in the present moment, not I will thank you when I see it. Now. It claims the feeling of relief in the present.
It collapses the timeline.
It collapses the timeline. And the second half, because the law has already answered me, affirms the completion. It's a statement of total trust in the machinery of the universe. It's not hoping the law will answer, it's thanking it because it already has.
You're speaking from the finish line.
You're speaking from the finish line. And the instruction is to speak it 3 times out loud.
The triple seal.
The triple seal. It's a way to really drive it past the conscious mind's skepticism and into the subconscious. Once might be a stray thought. 3 times is a declaration. It's an act of will.
And the 7-day challenge. What does the daily practice actually look like?
It's a very structured daily regimen. It's designed for total immersion. First, in the morning. Before you look at your phone, this is non-negotiable. Before you check the news or your email or social media, before the world can hijack your vibration, you sit up and you speak the phrase 3 times audibly. You set your own frequency for the day.
The first voice you listen to.
You have to be. Then, at noon, this is crucial. Midday is when the stress of the world kicks in, the boss yells, or the kids are screaming, or the doubts about the bill start to rise up. That's the voice of the beggar. And you use the phrase to silence the ego. You just stop, take a breath, and say, I thank you now. It's a reset button. It brings you back to the truth.
And finally, at night.
Right before sleep. The source says this is when the veil is thin between the conscious and subconscious mind. You plant the seed of gratitude in your subconscious right before you drift off, so it can germinate all night long without interference.
It's like you're sandwiching your entire day in this declaration of gratitude.
It's absolute immersion. You are consciously, actively refusing to let the old self, the beggar, breathe. Every time the old self tries to complain or worry, you hit it with the master phrase. You starve it of attention.
The source also mentions a digital contract. It asks listeners of the original video to type the phrase in the comments. Obviously, our listeners are listening to audio, but I think the principle applies, doesn't it?
It's about externalization. It's one thing to think it, another to say it, and yet another to write it down. When you write it, whether you type it in a notes app on your phone, write it on a sticky note and put it on your mirror, or text it to yourself, it's an act of public declaration. Even if the public is just you, it creates a contract with yourself. I am doing this. I am serious about this shift.
So if you're listening right now, maybe just do it. If you're not driving, of course.
Yeah.
Grab your phone, open a note, and just type it out. I thank you now because the law has already answered me. See how it feels to make that declaration tangible.
And then just watch. Watch what happens in the next 72 hours. Be open to the signs.
This has been quite a journey, a real deep dive. We started with this idea of the sacred inversion, flipping the entire script on gratitude.
Thank first, receive second.
We talked about the psychology of it, of killing the beggar identity that waits and hopes, and resurrecting the governor who knows and decrees.
We went through the forbidden phrases, the language of lack, and the divine substitutions, the language of possession.
And we learned that this isn't about being passive or wishing. It is the most active thing you can possibly do. It's taking command of your reality through the technology of the spoken word.
It's the ultimate act of creation.
I keep thinking about that line from the source. Two selves cannot govern the same body. You're either the beggar or you are the possessor. You cannot be both at the same time.
That is the ultimate takeaway. Every moment of your day is a choice between those two identities. Every time you open your mouth to speak about your life, you are casting a vote for one of them.
So here's our final thought for you to chew on, to take with you after this. The source asks a very provocative question, and I'll ask it to you now. What is the specific thing you are currently begging for?
And be honest with yourself.
Be brutally honest. Is it love? Is it a certain amount of money? Is it recognition at work? Is it peace in your family? What is it?
And the follow-up question is this. What would happen if you stopped asking for it right now, this very second, and started thanking the universe that it is already done?
Just imagine the relief. Forget the manifestation for a second. Just imagine the psychological weight dropping off your shoulders if you truly deeply believed it was already a done deal, that the package is on the truck.
That relief is the proof. That feeling of peace is the vibration that opens the door. That's the sign that the shift has happened internally.
And remember the seed analogy. The seed grows in the dark. If you do this for 24 hours and you don't see $1 million on your doorstep, don't dig up the seed by saying it didn't work.
That's the ultimate act of doubt.
Know that the internal change, the vibrational shift, has already occurred. The invisible machinery is turning. The gears are in motion.
The law never fails. Only our patience does.
I thank you now because the law has already answered me. Try it, see what happens. And hey, maybe the fact that you're listening to this deep dive right now, that you heard this message today, maybe that's the first sign that the law is already answering you.
Fascinating possibility indeed.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you on the next one.